We're taking back cunt.
Yeah, one episode at a time. We're just getting that little explicit thing on iTunes every episode.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah. It helps with our intros like, fuck yes, welcome to the Hype Review. Host as always, Brian Dressel. With me as always is Jonathan Hardesty.
A lot of C words going around today.
Ryan James.
Fuck yes.
CHEWIE Darso.
I'm very excited about the C word.
You said that so restrained.
Because
I'm very excited about the C word.
Because I didn't want you to bleep me.
There was like a kind of a mischievous nature to it, too.
I just like
I'm excited about the C word.
You're expecting me
runt!
to bleep you now.
Where's my runt? I lost my runt.
Now
like
you have
those
to bleep
candies.
every time we say C word.
Yeah. Or just bleep her whenever she says anything other than cunt.
Beep. Cunt. Beep.
And special guest today, we have Emily Blake.
Hi, I don't have a catchphrase.
Oh.
Is cunt my crunch phrase?
Your crunch face?
You're just at the gym. You're doing crunches.
Cunt!
They would ask me to leave so fast.
After 50 reps, you surprisingly get to 150 reps before they kick you out.
Just do it at curves. And Babe was like, well, we're all women here. You know, it's okay. I don't think it'll work either. All right, well, so really quick before we get started and everything, Emily, do you have anything to plug?
Beyond
Beyond the article you write for us. Cough, cough.
Why don't
yeah.
you plug heythpod.com?
I wrote the first of what I hope will be several columns about women in film for you guys. And this one's about Katniss. Although after that conversation we just had before we started recording, I'm definitely thinking about writing one about why Ray is not a Mary Sue. Thank you very much.
Do it.
I also co-host a filmmaker podcast called Chicks Who Script, although we are winding things down. We only got a few episodes left. No, we've still been winding them down. We just haven't recorded for like 2 months.
Oh.
It's a very slow
I thought
wind
you guys
down.
should come back. Like,
No, we scheduled one. We scheduled to record with somebody, and then that was the day of the LA Marathon, and none of us could cross the marathon to get to the location. So we ended up having to bump the episode for a month.
Damn it, marathon.
But we are going to record, I think we have 4 more episodes left, and then we're done. Our last one's going to be live at 3 clubs, but we don't know when that's going to be yet.
Oh, nice.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. We're hoping to have Stephanie Folsom on because she was our second guest and she hadn't really done anything yet, and now of course she's making the Thor movie. So we're like, yes, come back, Stephanie, you're our biggest success.
That'd be awesome.
We helped make you. Not really. Not really.
Just keep saying that. Yeah. It's a podcast. People believe anything they hear. So how about where have you been doing? I'm going to go not first. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because my where have I been doing again is the CW shows. Yay! Because I keep talking about those. But I finally caught up to watching the duet episode, the crossover with Supergirl and The Flash, where it's a musical. And Darren Criss plays the music meister.
I love Darren Criss.
And I like how they rewrote his character for that episode, where he's not just this guy who wears a weird outfit and shoots musical notes at people.
That's awesome.
That would have been fun too, though.
They made him another fifth dimensional being who pretty much tries to teach people lessons through knocking them into a coma and making them sing music. I'm like, great. And I mean, they obviously did it because there's so many people from Broadway on their shows.
Yeah.
And it was a delight. It was just so great to watch them all sing. It was great to watch Malcolm Merlyn sing. It was great to watch Iris's dad sing. It was great to watch, I keep forgetting his name, the half of Firestorm sing, and Finn sing, because they're all so freaking talented.
Yeah.
But some of them definitely outshined the others. Half of Firestorm, because I'm just going to keep not remembering his name. Professor Stein. He has such a beautifully, classically trained voice that he was able to capture just like, I don't know, the beauty of his song so much more than everybody else. But then Finn has such a big, grandiose Broadway voice that he just was able to belt out more than anybody. When? Sorry. I keep calling him Finn. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mixing up my nerd characters.
Who traitor?
But when. And it's so great to see them sing. I know it's all fan service, and the episode, the way it was written, was not the best. But it's such a delight to see the love on their faces, and they were definitely having a ton of fun shooting it. So
I've heard nothing but good things. I look forward to finally
really
getting
good.
to it. Yeah. Mine is is another podcast. I'm not sure if any of you remember, but back in the day, I was very happy listening to a podcast called DCR, which was DC Radio. And the two guys who ran that show decided that their kids and wives and jobs were more important than comics and shut down their show. And I was very mad at them because
kids.
their show was so good. They did such a good job breaking down every single issue that would come out over a week and did it in a way that you understood it. And if you didn't have time to go pick that one up, you still felt like you had read it. Like, these guys were fantastic. And a new show has kind of picked up the torch, and it's called DC Squadcast. They don't do as many books as the other guys did, because they literally did, if it was a DC title book, they covered it. And these guys do more like just the superhero ones. They don't pick up necessarily all of them, but they do a pretty good job covering a good amount of them. And they're both very funny. They both obviously know comics. And the reason that I picked it up was somebody said, "Oh, you like the DCEU. This show loves it," because they started from a show called Suicide Squadcast, where they loved the Suicide Squad movie. Not a popular opinion. And the first episode I listened to was all about Superman right now in DC, and the guy who runs it just went on this huge rant about how people are overreacting about Zack Snyder's Superman and how he is a great character, even though he's not the same character that we're used to. And he won me over, and I really enjoy the show. So I would say give that one a shot. If you want to hear somebody give a really good argument, better than I could ever do, about why Zack Snyder's Superman is a legitimate Superman character, check out DC Squadcast. And that's it for me.
Legitimate.
Yeah, like it's...
Usually
I obviously I'm a DCEU fan. Like I've never been ashamed of that, but I'm not the biggest fan of that Superman. I just think he's okay. These guys might have swung me the other way. They did a really good job.
All right.
Next.
You guys see that trailer for Cloak and Dagger?
No.
Yeah,
I think
turned it off halfway through.
I think it looks good. I mean, yeah, it's a teen, angst show, but I think it looks cool.
I had to have someone explain to me what Freeform was. Because like,
I've
are
never watched a
they
Freeform
doing
show.
the show Freeform? Like, what does this mean? And so, like,
Fully
no,
improvise.
yeah, it's
I
like-
assume that's the channel. I don't actually
no,
know.
it's
It
what
is.
ABC
It is.
Family used to be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so the new name for ABC Family.
Right,
Yes.
the new
That
name-
makes more
yep.
sense. Yeah. But I think it looks cool. I like Cloak and Dagger, and I am curious if they're going to connect this to the other shows. I think
No.
now I know.
It doesn't look like it.
I don't know for a fact, but I've heard rumors that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is ending. They're picked up for one more season, and then they're going to have the Inhumans in this. So I don't know if they're going to connect them in any way or what.
It'd be interesting, but
Yeah.
I've
why
never
start
been.
now?
I love the Cloak and Dagger movie from the '80s, but that's not related.
No, not at all.
But I've never been a big fan of them in the books. So like I watched the trailer, I'm like, that didn't swing me. So
I
it's
think
like I watch enough comic book TV shows. This is the first one I can comfortably say skipping it.
it'll be tough because they are really good support characters. Much like the Fantastic Four and some other teams that they haven't done too well with in the universe. They're like they do so much better when they're playing off of the big characters.
Well,
Right,
they might
yeah.
be able to be a little bit riskier because it's not something that anyone like. It's not gonna have a lot of reach,
Right.
Because Freeform is a channel that no one really recognizes as a channel first and foremost.
Yeah.
and it's gonna,
You're dead wrong about that one.
Really?
People are really into Freeform.
really
It's not for people. It's not for cord cutters.
okay,
Is the best way to describe it.
interesting.
Because I know friend of the show
Fascinating.
and past guest Anthony Howard. Whenever I went over to his place, he always had Freeform on.
Really
Every time. Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Jinx.
I don't even have a Coke.
Did you have one?
Yeah, I'm still playing Thimbleweed Park, and I want to make a correction from the last time I was playing it. The company that the game developer you play in the game is trying to get a job at is not what I said, because I said it wrong. It was
How dare you?
Yeah, the company is named Mucus Phlegm, so it's like Lucasfilm art. So like it's, you can tell what Ron Gilbert thinks about his time with Lucasfilm.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's a fun character, and she's probably the best thing about the game so far. As as well as the mystery and the Twin Peaksiness of it. I've had a lot of fun, and it's like I go to that instead of some other games that you and I are really into, and it makes me sad, but I still really like this.
Yeah, I'm specifically not starting other games to not leave the one that we're into. Like
Yeah,
I have Gravity Rush 2 just sitting there waiting
I
to
want
be
to play that
played.
one. I
I'm
want
like,
to play that one.
I gotta wait, or I'll never go back to the other one.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's like $20. Thimbleweed Park is, and it plays on a joke that Ron Gilbert made all the way in Monkey Island 1, where it's like never pay more than $20 for a game, and this game is $20. And I just love that he's a very meta game developer. And I
Is this
really
on
like it.
Xbox? You said
It's on Xbox One,
Okay.
yeah. And I think PC.
cool. Not PS4.
Nope.
Sons of bitches.
PS4 got all of Tim Schafer stuff, so the Full Throttle remaster
Yes,
and all.
that's
like,
right. That's right. We mentioned this before.
Yeah,
That's right. Emily, do you have a Where Have You Been Doing?
I've been catching up on Into the Badlands, which I feel like I watched the first season, but I didn't watch it very carefully. And there's a lot of mythology, so I was like, I've been trying to get to understand what the hell is happening now. It's a phenomenal show. I mean, it's really ethnically diverse for one thing, which is great, and it's basically a wuxia story, which is my favorite in the whole world. I could just watch people flying around, stabbing each other and kicking each other in the face all day long. And I feel like it's a show that most people aren't. I don't know what their ratings are. I mean, they're not huge, but it's.
Well, the reviews were pretty rough.
Yeah.
And I've just heard that it takes a little while to get going.
Yeah,
the first episodes are a little.
That's what I mean. First season, yeah. I kind of lost interest in individual episodes, and I got really lost in the mythology. But I feel like second season, they've kind of simplified it a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just the fights are gorgeous. The fights look just. I mean, there was one the other day where they had a god's eye view on all of these people all fighting each other at the same time, and it looked like a chessboard from above. It was really, really cool. They've been doing some neat stuff.
What is this on?
AMC.
AMC, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was on at the same time as Preacher, wasn't it? Or right around the same time?
Maybe.
Before, I think, just before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know they're right around because those are the two new shows of the year. It was they were really promoting both of them. And
Yeah.
I really attached to one of them.
Yes.
And not the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's why now I've been catching up
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was so focused on Preacher that I kind of missed a lot of Into the Badlands, which is I love that stuff, so I really feel like I kind of should have been paying more attention, but I think they've done, and Nick Frost is on it this season.
Ooh.
Which is great, watching Nick Frost just fucking pound on people. It's been
Really?
awesome.
That's
yeah.
weird.
Well,
That's interesting.
Yeah, because he's not. I mean, he is a bit comic relief, but he's playing a real person. He's not usually when you see Nick Frost, you're like, hee silly.
Right.
But Nick Frost is now playing a complex character that has serious moments, and he does have funny moments, and you're not 100% sure you can trust him, but he's getting better, and it's yeah.
cool.
Yeah, the first feeling I had for that was at World's End when I'm like, oh, he's not just the comic relief in this
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
He's a legit character.
He can really wail.
Yeah.
And he was great in that.
Yeah.
I like Nick Frost.
Yeah.
So do I.
We should have him on.
Yeah, come on down. Okay, are we ready to move on to today's episode?
Rogue.
Rogue One, not Rogue 2.
Rogue One, my heart.
Wait, this is not called Rouge One? I've been reading it wrong the whole time.
Jesus.
No.
No, you're just reading all the people online who don't know how to spell rogue.
Oh, that's sad. I didn't know that was the thing
that's
that
a
was
thing.
happening.
Oh,
Really?
that's been a thing
Yeah.
since the internet was invented.
Yeah.
That's why spell check
What's
is...
your favorite D&D character? The Rouge, the Assassin Rouge.
No.
Now I want to make that character.
Swing and a miss.
Have you guys seen there's one post going around that's all the times that people have misspelled cologne and wrote it as colon.
Yes.
Yes,
I
that was
love
great.
the way his colon smells.
I love the way my boyfriend's colon smells. And I'm sitting here that's so funny.
One of my biggest spelling faux pas is the word subtle, because it's spelled subtle.
Oh, yeah. I can't spell minute to save my life.
Oh.
I don't know why. This is my whole life.
Also, isle, which you think it's ILE, but it's azel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The
I
English
can-
language
The fuck
sucks.
English.
I can spell all these things. What's wrong with you guys?
I mean, I can spell them, but they were problems growing up.
Sure.
I can't spell minute. I admit it now. And you better believe I'm never going to learn because I've proved that over 30 years.
What, can you spell minute?
If I try to spell minute, I bet y'all spell minute. Okay, so really quick for Rogue One, I'm going to skip over the reviews because they upset me. Well, that's not fair. It got a 60 on Metacritic and not very great on Rotten Tomatoes either, which will forever annoy me.
Yeah, when people tell me they don't like this movie and then they give me the classic excuse is it was boring, I get so mad.
Yeah,
Did you watch the original trilogy?
There
Yeah.
are some legitimate arguments in there to why this isn't the most
Yeah, I know
flawless
this isn't
film ever,
perfect.
but the boring one drives me up the wall.
Yeah, I don't get it. Do you even like to watch movies?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
They really like Transformers.
and that's the thing. Like Rachel Bloom, I love her. She's one of the most inspiring people in the world. She hates this movie because it's boring, and I'm like, what?
I don't get it. I want to talk to her, but I know she'll be better at talking than me. Yeah. So she'll probably...
That was the best way you could have said that.
She would probably win the argument just because she's such a good writer and such a wonderful woman.
And a good talker,
That
too.
I'll be like, damn it, I want to argue with you, but you're overshadowing me in every second.
Yep. So really quick on the numbers, it made $1 billion. So I don't.
That's just not enough, guys.
That's not even a real number.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like this is one of the few movies that will cross $1 billion that will never get a sequel.
Yep.
Yeah.
That kind of brings me
Well,
a little
'cause
bit
it's
of
already had a sequel.
We already had a
Oh,
sequel.
sure, yeah.
I love the advertise, like the jokes around this, trying to tease, like spoil the next movie. Like,
Oh, I
have
love
you
that.
seen the
Yeah.
leaks for the next movie coming out? We talked with the director right now. It's like young George Lucas.
Yeah,
This is funny.
George Vader
Lucas
seems to
returned.
slow down a lot.
Yeah.
I
He's
love
a real up and comer.
big news that George Lucas is returning to filmmaking to direct the Rogue One sequel.
I love those jokes.
Zing, zing, zing.
I think it's time for a breakdown. So for special occasion of Star Wars, we didn't do this last time. We felt it very important to make Emily drink some blue milk.
It's delicious.
Because blue milk
Emily's
does
a
get
writer, not
a
an
very
actor.
specific scene in this movie.
It does. They hold on that thing.
Because I know it's supposed to be the mom, but we all look at the blue milk.
Yep. It's like, we know what's in this
blue.
frame. It's blue. It's milk. It's the only drink in
What
Star Wars.
does the blue milk come from?
Blue cows.
But where are they?
Moisture farms?
They're called banthas.
Yeah, it's
But
bantha
they're
milk.
not blue.
When you milk a bantha, it has a blue thing that comes
Yeah.
out, and it's
Yeah.
Bantha milk. So this is bantha milk. Cool.
Yes. Okay, so is everybody ready to go for this?
Oh, yeah, we're good.
You don't have to keep drinking that if you don't want to. It's really just as long as we got you on camera drinking. You can.
No.
You're
gonna
welcome
drink
to
it
chug
real
the whole
sexy
thing.
like.
Is that a challenge?
I will finish this.
Is this something in your fantasies?
Complete
A
silent
bucket
30-second
hot lady
breakdown.
drinking
Chugging
milk, blue milk.
you know what?
Oh no. That would not be silent. I would be over here retching.
I almost kind of wish that's
It
what she'd
could
done.
just be white milk,
Just
and I'd be
throw
doing
the
that
30-second
set.
breakdown to the wind. I'm
Yeah.
just drinking this the whole time.
And then pour a little on your breasts.
Too many Star Wars fans would be way too into that. We get a whole new fan base.
I suddenly like Star Wars now.
Let's get Deneen back. I've got some ideas for her Stargirl show.
Who knew blue milk was my turn
Blue
on?
milk bad.
Wow.
All right, so Rogue One in 30 seconds. Here we go.
This badass chick named Jen Erso gets a crew together, and they go to steal the Death Star plans from the Empire, and it's a war movie, so everyone dies, but they win. That's it.
That's wow, like 13 seconds left.
You left
More
out
blue
her,
milk.
Yeah, drink the milk. Drink.
heartbreaking orphan. Her heartbreaking orphan story.
Okay, that's good enough. I really wanted to make you chug the rest of that.
It's not as bad as I remember milk being.
How long's it been?
That's such a curious sentence.
I drink milk all the time.
We should spend the rest of the podcast unpacking that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about Emily's milk drinking habits. Thanks for listening to our Rogue One
It's
episode.
good to prevent osteoporosis.
It is. Especially the blue stuff.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
extra.
everyone wants blue bones. So for succeeding, you get to make fun of me, and not just for my voice cracking there. Although you can if you want to. You get one free insult to throw my way if you want to.
Cunty. I don't know.
Yay.
I'm cunty.
See, but that's why I love him. Because I love cunts.
Fair enough. So Rogue One, I think, as we like to do at this show, let's talk about the hype.
It had some.
Oh boy, did it! The interesting thing for me was this one had such like a mixed feeling going into it. A lot of people didn't think it was necessary.
You want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
So I know we were trying not to talk too much about Episode 7, Force Awakens on
I
this
did before we
episode.
started recording. Kind of blatantly say, don't talk about Episode 7. We're here to talk about Rogue One.
But the hype for this starts with Episode 7
That's
because
fair, yeah.
it was announced before Force Awakens actually was in the theaters. So I went to the Force Awakens being like cautiously optimistic because I had seen the prequels in the theaters and I learned my lesson. And I sat there through it and I'm like, okay, let's get in, let's get some popcorn. And then it's like, oh, it's Rey and she's awesome. And then like Poe leans down and he's giving that little file to BB-8. I'm like, wait, this is just A New Hope. Like 10 minutes in, I was like, this is just A New Hope again. And I was right. And at the end of it, I was on my way to the bathroom and I was like, I'm going to like Rogue One better. And I was totally right.
I remember you saying a long time ago on our podcast, I think the ones I'm going to like more are the standalones.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, like, as much as I don't want to talk about Episode 7, I'm not here to bash it. It's just like this movie for me, when I was looking into it, like I knew the director, I liked everything he's done so far. I thought he was an odd choice, and as you can tell from the what's in the trailers versus what's in the movie, he did everything he's been doing his whole fucking career.
Yeah.
And I love it.
He overshoots like mad. He just, whatever's in his head, I'm going to shoot it, and if it works in the final product, great. And if it doesn't, so be it. when you give all that stuff to trailer editors, you end up with a lot of stuff that doesn't end up in the movie.
And I read he told them, he's like, wait, that whole line about rebelling and that whole sequence, like none of that's actually going to make the movie. That scene where the TIE fighter comes down to shoot her at the end.
Yeah.
He's like, he told them, none of that's in the movie. They're like, yeah, but it's really good footage. We're gonna use it.
Yeah, it's like even like the shot of her like turning around in the hallway with the lights coming around her. They just did that because it looked cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I just came, like where I was before this was a film distribution class.
Yeah.
And it was for indie film, but still the principle applies. And she was telling us that like the thing is like she was showing posters for her movie that like were not the movie at all.
Right.
Yeah.
But they'll sell. She was like this. It was actually a faith-based movie, female-led, about Christianity and had a side story of football. So the poster was a guy kneeling and praying on the football field, and it's like that's really not this movie, but it showed like it sells really well in certain parts of America that image. So and then you get people watching the movie out of that. So I feel it makes sense that you would just still do that no matter how big your budget.
Right.
You would still have a movie that
marketing.
You gotta. Doesn't matter if it's in it or not. You get people to the theater and then they decide if they like it.
And
this movie really suffered. Not suffered is the wrong word, but it had a lot of that. A lot of you don't have to keep drinking. That.
Take a drink.
I just was like,
in front of her.
Suddenly we change her life, and all she wants is milk.
Not just
You want
any
some
milk.
coffee,
Blue
some
milk.
water.
I've got water.
But no, like it people got upset. Like the shot of Jin and forgetting his name now.
Who is it? Come on, I got
Cassian.
Cassian.
Cassian running on the beach with holding the plans. Like that wasn't in the movie. It's like, yeah, but so what? Like what was in the movie was good, dude.
Well, it's interesting. For me, it did this thing where original Avengers movie where Hulk catches Tony Stark falling down.
Yeah,
that's a big thing, and that's in the trailer, right?
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I could tell where I was in the movie based off of what I saw in the trailer. And
sure, yeah,
that's one of the big reasons I don't watch trailers.
Yep.
And I don't mind it as much anymore, but I do recognize, like, okay, this does spoil some of it for me. It lessens the impact. With this, all those scenes that weren't in there, kind of like I wasn't looking for those scenes. Like, because it was like, I can't find this. Okay, I'm just going to enjoy the movie. And it was so much better.
Yeah.
I actually was. Like, when I realized that so much had been cut, like the scene where she's meeting with Mon Mothma, and clearly in the trailer, she's has that line about, it's a rebellion, isn't it? We rebel.
I hate
and when
that line.
they made it through that scene without her getting that line out, I'm like, whoa, they made
think
really good decisions.
Yeah.
I think they realized that's great for a trailer, but
Yeah.
bad for the movie. Because actually, when I started hearing that, I'm like, good God, please don't say that in the movie.
Also, in context, it wouldn't. I think when you see it, it's almost like she's being defiant. But in context of that scene, it wouldn't have felt. That
it
line
would have
just
felt
wouldn't have-
forced.
It would have felt very
cheesy.
like snotty kid brought into the principal's office, which that's not what that scene was. Like,
And it's not her character.
That's what
Yeah.
it looked like in the trailer, though.
Yeah, exactly,
So
yeah.
it worked really to this movie's benefit. I loved the way that they used scenes that captured the theme, the elements, the look, but then didn't spoil anything.
yeah, like don't get me wrong, that the shot of her walking up to the TIE fighter is awesome, and it's a really cool, like intimidating shot. But fuck it, I still seen it.
Yeah.
It's still in the trailer. It's still a great shot in the trailer. Just because it's not in the movie doesn't mean that media does not exist and you can't enjoy it in the form of a trailer. Like, people get really tied up on this, like, well, it wasn't in the movie. It's still in the trailer.
So?
Just go watch the trailer.
So?
You enjoyed it so much there. It's still there.
We all love the movie Twister, but the scene of that big tire smashing into the camera does not happen in the movie at any point. It was only in the trailer.
Yeah, or, no, never want to make that reference. I was going to say, or in Predators with Adrian Brody, but I don't think anyone likes that movie. So
I think we got it.
I like
we
Adrian
got it.
Brody's chest
Yeah.
in that movie.
But yeah, so that's kind of the thing with the hype of this movie is that people were really excited for another Star Wars film, and it was a big, not bait and switch, that feels like the wrong way to put it, but it's a big kind of twist on like, oh shit, all that stuff I was expecting isn't here. But I think that works to the movie's benefit.
especially when you're talking about a prequel.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like where
Yeah.
you're not expecting to be surprised by much.
Yeah, and
It was almost kind of a smart move because we're already going into this expecting, okay, obviously Star Wars is after this one. A New Hope is after this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Obviously, this is going to happen.
And-
obviously, like we start to telegraph this thing in our mind.
And I didn't know how close it was going to buddy up to A New
yeah.
Hope. Like that kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know it was going to go right up to the line. I
Yeah.
thought there's going to be a little bit more wiggle room in there. But don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed that. But
Yeah.
yeah, you do kind of have that idea of like, I know everything's going to happen in this movie. You can kind of guess everyone's going to die. Like, it just kind of felt like that from the trailers, and like you might say one or two of them, but it felt for the most part they're all
you have
gonna die.
characters that are such alpha personalities that they would invade the other movies with their roles if they still lived.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
you
But you
can't
know what?
live past this movie.
I didn't even think about it didn't occur to me that everyone would die. I just was like, I didn't even think about that until K9 died. Not K9.
No, K9's got two.
Yeah, K19. Sorry.
That would have been awesome.
Hello, Master.
K2SO was replaced by K9. I'm into this movie.
but like when he died, I went, Oh.
They're all gonna.
Oh, that's where this is headed.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I loved so much about this movie, about it being a prequel, is that it's not slave to fan service in the same way like Episode 7 was.
It's not slave to it, but has a fuckload of it.
But that's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
Because one thing that bothered me about Episode 7 is that it felt so like slave to, all right, we got to use all the same things that everyone loved from the originals, guys.
We got to make you love Star Wars again.
Yeah, we got to remake episode or A New Hope. We got to use the same cast. We got to follow the same structure. We need to really capture like the sameness of the previous movies. And in this one, they didn't do that. They had some characters from the previous films, but they weren't the main characters. Mm-hmm. And they were more so like, all right, the fan service is really going to be in the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. We are going to capture the tone and the look of Star Wars. And I really felt like I get fluttery chest things just thinking about it, because there's so many moments in this movie that I'm like, you understand. Like, oh my God, you're not just making it to make money. Like, you really understood Star Wars. Like, I didn't get that in Episode 7.
And one of the first things they do, and it was a controversial decision, no opening crawl.
Right.
And I thought that was
the right choice.
I think it was the right choice, but I think it also telegraphed to us something very
liked
special
an
about this
crawl,
movie.
They actually didn't let them. Gareth wanted one, I think, and they said no because it's not part of the series. It's a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
But think about what that tells you.
I still think it was the right call.
I do too.
I get it. I understand why you'd want it, but
and that powerful opening sting is amazing.
But who wants to fucking start reading right off the bat?
No. That was so
just to
dated.
think.
I like it.
I wish they didn't have it in Force Awakens either.
But to think that you can get that reaction still out of Chewie without the iconic first thing you see in that movie is you just don't get any of that, and they still capture it better than Episode 7 with the crawl.
I think
I find that
fascinating.
a fascinating look at what we expect as fans and just
one of the
relationship.
Very specific moments that I started crying wasn't even an emotional moment. It was kind of near the end, where the guy at the comm who just intercepts the Imperial thing about there being an attack on Scarif. And just him with the headset and the glow from his monitor and everything. It was so Star Wars in that moment, with the darkness, the color scheme, everything, and how even they acted. Like, I started crying in that moment because I was just like, so like, I feel like I'm there again. I feel like I'm right in that world again. And
she's gonna cry throughout this whole
I'm
episode.
sorry. I just had so much joy. I don't know if it was the expectations of Episode 7, but Episode 7, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy that movie. But
it's a great movie. I want to be clear. There's at least one person at this table who loves that fucking movie.
I really
love
enjoy
it too.
Episode
I just
7.
don't love it as much.
But in the realm of why I love Star Wars, it didn't capture that for me. I didn't cry in Episode 7. I got a death of Han Solo I didn't cry at. And I will always be mad at the movie because of that. And I cried in this movie.
I think I have something that kind of sums this all up, because the movies definitely set out to do entirely different things. I think Force Awakens was made for Star Wars fans. Rogue One was made by Star Wars fans.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. That's. I mean,
because Gareth Edwards is clearly a lover of Star Wars, to his core.
So is JJ.
I mean, he snuck R2-D2 into Star Trek. I mean, he's clearly a Star Wars fan. But
I feel like there's a divide in a weird sense that there's people that really love the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Which I definitely get from JJ. And
I
he's
might
very
have it
good at that.
Actually.
Well, no,
but then to me, there's the movies and there's the essence.
Yeah.
And these two movies capture in different ways
it's hard
to me.
because Rogue One, I think, captures more of the essence of the movies, with
That's
the whole
what I'm talking about.
using of footage and stuff.
But my major thing was I don't mean this as a knock in 7. I really don't want to keep talking about this. But the
people
difference
get
was,
mad at us for how much.
I know. This is a year anniversary of the first time I got hate mail of what the fuck, and it's like we said we liked it.
Yeah, but also what? Okay. What the fuck's a hate mail because you don't like something someone else likes?
Oh, well, that's one of the problems with Star Wars fandom, where if you don't love everything that comes out, you're not a real Star Wars fan.
Calm down, people.
It doesn't matter how many times we're like, no, we like this movie. It's just these are the problems we had. Yeah. That was too much for him. But the thing is that I feel like as good of a filmmaker as Abrams is, and as good as a storyteller as he is, there was a certain task he had to do, which was make Star Wars cool again. Mm-hmm. And that handcuffed him so much to telling a story we already knew and doing things we've already seen and just celebrating the fandom, which was great and it's fun. Whereas Gareth Edwards did not have that. He had
more freedom.
It felt like almost just go make the story you want to make. And because of that, he's able to make a movie that people who never drifted from Star Wars, who kept reading the books and played the video games and watched everything, could watch this and go, this is what I wanted. Whereas the people who had taken that big break saw Episode 7 and went, oh, this is why Star Wars was cool. You're right. This is fucking great.
Yeah, I don't know.
They both do great things, but they just do different things.
I don't know who told them that Force Awakens has to follow beats and scenes and frames from A New Hope. It is a bad.
Well, this is where it gets into like
playing on a nostalgia, really.
Okay.
A very complicated relationship that fandom has with the material. We start to own it.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, there's like the schism where it's like, we want these things. We want to feel how we felt, but we're never going to feel how we felt when we saw A New Hope. But then we almost get insulted by having it regurgitated back to us.
Yeah.
So there's like this weird cycle. Like we want this same thing. So then the fact that he just kind of tried ideas for Rogue One and it's like, let's just do this and this. We actually got those moments we wanted in ways we didn't expect, and that almost works better.
Yeah.
It's a very tightrope to walk. I don't envy it at all.
But like the deep love that this guy has for Star Wars, like he made me feel like casual.
Yeah.
Like the things he was able to he just pulled out concept art that they had designed way back in the day for New Hope and made it real.
Yeah.
And made them actual characters. Like he did such cool fucking things and like
those are like the nods, the fan service. That's the fan service we want.
That's the moment that the yellow-faced character came on screen. I'm like, I know that painting.
Yeah. It's like,
I know. They didn't use you. Now they are. And even the guy that, the large, hairy white guy. I don't know what his name was. He was also a concept art that they never used. And it was just like, it's so great to see you alive.
Like there's so many things that you just never thought you'd see in a film that they just snuck into this movie, and they didn't call attention to it really. They didn't really overshow it. Like it was just so smartly played where like if you'd spent your whole life loving these things, you go, oh my God, like this is just so cool.
Yeah.
And
to make a good movie around that is even more impressive.
Where they never felt shoehoorned, like they felt organic and part of the environment.
The one that was shoehorned was the two people from the bar.
Oh yes,
that was like
the two characters from the bar.
I spent because that actually took me out of the movie for a minute because the whole time I was just like, well, then that town blows up. So what do they just hop on a ship?
Yeah, I think they were on their way to the ship.
Like if the one was like, "Come on, we're running late for our ship to Mos Eisley," like only way would have made sense.
You escaped that to get armored by Obi-Wan. Like,
they had a bad few days.
That's
why they were so cranky.
I think it's maybe a week. I don't know. I don't know how much time actually went between them.
I think it was
it's a long time.
Good thing that they did to frame this around it being a war movie.
Yeah,
and by doing that, like they kind of made it about something. It was also nice to have the Empire be a threat, and I think that's something that maybe you feel with the newer movie that we won't talk about anymore. But like it felt like the Empire, like they were like always kind of roughly at the same step as the rebels. They were all kind of playing this cat and mouse game, and I was scared for them. Even
the one thing I'll say that jumps on that is that this was the first time I ever felt the rebels were rebels.
Yeah.
Like they felt like they'd do some shitty things.
Yeah.
Oh, they did
and they
a
were
great
actually
job
struggling.
of tying it to modern day rebels. Like when they were blowing up the tanks and stuff in the town. I'm like, holy shit, that looks like what I envision a modern day rebel to be.
But like
that's what I'm saying. They pulled from modern society the same way that George Lucas did to make a war movie, not a sci-fi epic space opera. It's a war movie that happens to be set in space.
Yeah.
This movie did that again.
And like the moment for me, it's like the introduction of Diego Luna's character is such a great like tone setter for what the rebels are. He kills a guy. I mean,
he does what's necessary to continue
exactly.
the fight.
And it's a shitty thing. He kills a guy who did not deserve it, but it would keep him alive, and it made sure that guy couldn't spoil anything.
That's right.
And that guy was at that point was just a detriment. He was shell shocked, and he was not going to help anyone. He was going to hurt the rebellion at that point.
Yeah. But since we've spent the entire 6 movies with the hero, 7 movies with the heroes, we don't see the shitty side of the rebellion, and we got to see that in this movie.
You can't have the hero in the hero's journey. You can't have him be shitty. You really cannot because it spoils that arc, that trope.
Yeah.
Well, but he's not the hero, which is significant. Like he ends up learning from the hero of the story.
Well, they're all kind of, except for K2, they're all anti-heroes in my mind.
Yeah. Well, the two Jedi priests,
right?
Yeah,
they're not.
Well, Guardians,
sorry,
or so. Yeah, they're the non-anti, but the two main, with Jin and Cassian. Sorry, I always want to call him something else. They're not really setting out to be heroes.
Yeah.
That's never really their main goal at the beginning. He's trying to be a useful tool in the rebellion, but he's doing the dirty work. He's not really trying to be a hero. That's more Mon Mothma's character. And she is just a tool at the beginning. Like, they just need her to accomplish this goal. She's a tool of the rebellion. And then she ends up deciding to get these plans. Again, not really so much because she wants to be the hero of the rebellion, but because her dad told her to.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that's great because they're both kind of reluctant. They both have different motives, but they end up being heroes because of it.
Yeah, it's a really kind of fun arc. Let's talk a little bit about Jin, because I feel like there's so much to say about her character, and it was unexpected for me. Like when I saw the character and I saw like the trailers and that sort of stuff, I didn't expect her to have as many flaws as she did. Because she is a flawed character all the way up to the end of the movie. She is a flawed character. Her reasons for being places are usually by and large selfish. She wants to go to places to save her dad. She wants to do what she wants to do. She doesn't really care about anybody else. But she does such a great job still overcoming her wants for the greater good. I think that's a really kind of cool arc that she has.
She even has that beautiful line of, "It's not a problem if you never look up."
Yeah.
About the Empire. And she essentially learns that her perspective at that moment is wrong, that she needs to fight.
Yeah.
And it's so appropriate for what's going on politically in our own environment.
Yeah.
Like the people who just close their eyes and ears and just be like, it's fine, it doesn't bother me.
I'm just going to live my life, which I know right now I'm definitely guilty of.
Yeah. A lot of people are. It's a shitty time.
I had a beautiful bathroom thinking moment after when we started talking about whether or not what we think of Rey, and then I went to the bathroom and I actually had a little bit of a moment that brought me back to Rey, that made me like her a little bit more when I was thinking about it, when I was comparing her to Jin, because they're both orphans. They were both abandoned at relatively the same age by their family, but in different circumstances. Rey was left on a planet by herself, and Jin actually saw one of her parents die and had to run away herself to preserve her own life and get picked up by someone that she'd probably never met before, I don't think.
I think she'd met him before.
I don't know.
Because I don't think she would have been able to go with... Forrest Whitaker's a freaky looking dude.
Yeah,
I don't think she would have gone with him if he had not.
Yeah.
Even so, like with the character flaws, they have very different character flaws in the orphan cliche. Cliche is not the best word. Motif,
what a great like two-sided coin that you get out of these two movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Continue.
Because you have Rey, who's the orphan who waits. She's like, my parents are going to come back. They love me. They're going to come back and get me. And then you have Jin, who's the orphan of, fuck it. I'm going. I'm really angry about everything that happened to me when I was younger. And I'm just going to just move forward and just kind of hate everyone because of it. And it's very different responses. Well, Rey stays very optimistic of like, it's going to be okay. They're going to come back. They love me. And Rey's just like, no. Like, Jin, sorry. Jin's the opposite. Like, I don't know if they'd be friends. Like, they have very different approaches to it. Where Jin
I don't think they would be.
Yeah, Jin wants to run away while Rey wants to run back. And it's it makes me like Rey more because a lot of times I was like, she's very empty of character flaws. And I know that mentally Rey's character flaws is that she's stuck in that.
Well, she's got a mental block. She's convinced that she can't be more than she is, and she...
Yeah. Even though she definitely runs through everything. Yeah.
Well, I think not again drifting into episode 7, but I think like my favorite Rey moment is when she's like pulls the compressor thing or pulls the thing out and hands it, holds it up and she goes, "I bypassed the compressor." She's so excited. She's just like, like you said, she's just so optimistic.
She's very optimistic.
Whereas Jin is like, they save her from prison and she's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Well, that's probably one of the reasons why I like Jin more because I mean, I can be a very optimistic person, but I'm also very cynical. And I'm definitely the person that would be like, all right, well, this is the way life is now. I'm going to move on. I've never been all right, I'm just going to stay here and it's going to get better. I've never been that person. I've just always been the move along person. So I identify with Jin more.
Speaking of moving along, we've been talking for 45 minutes and I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of this movie. We need to dive into some of the larger things at play here, like the filmmaking of this thing, the story
of this thing.
Betamax
tapes.
Betamax tapes. We haven't really talked about any of the other supporting cast.
Just like the inner office politics of the Empire.
Yeah.
That was fascinating. I was really so interested in that. Just the sniping.
This is now my victory, not yours.
Just how petty it was.
So good.
You've never seen such a petty side in the in the hero's journey of these other movies. Like these guys are petty assholes.
Well, it's very bureaucratic.
Krennic, I've seen the movie now 4 times. Krennic went from being the kind of whatever bad guy to maybe my favorite character in the movie. And I don't mean that like as the favorite hero, but he is such a fucked character from the get-go.
Oh, man.
He's having a very bad week.
He's having a very bad life. Like the second he kills Mads Mikkelsen's wife, it's like, oh, you just destroyed the Death Star. And it's like, it's such a little thing of just like, oh, you're getting in my way. I'm just going to get her out of the way. But by that one action, he fucked the entire empire.
Yeah.
And it's downplayed so well in the movie, but it's like, you look at it, it's like, if he hadn't have done that and just went to find a different scientist, the empire might still be winning.
That's true.
Right.
That's funny.
Yeah, and it's like, he fucks everything he fucks up. And
because he's blinded by his ambition.
Yeah, and I love that.
He chokes on his ambition.
On his ambition.
I even think I love the way it's reflected in his costume designer for this is great.
I love his cape.
His cape is amazing. Did you watch the way it flows?
It's very thin.
But it's so like, look how important and great I am. Like he's
so extra.
full of his own shit.
He kind of wants to be Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Like I really think he does, but he's not a Sith Lord.
He wants to be Tarkin.
Oh.
Yeah, he definitely wants to be Tarkin. He's annoyed that Tarkin is still a person.
Yeah.
If he just survived a few more months, he'd be he would have been promoted.
And I love the cruel joke of it that no matter what, Tarkin is always just that I win.
Yeah.
Like he just with a snap of his fingers he ousts him.
He's
Like,
the mean boss that takes the credit for all of his underlings.
and he's so good at it.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the character Tarkin. I mean, I don't really want to spend too much time talking about the CGI characters. There's been many shows you can listen to online that talk about it. Whether or not I like getting more of a look at Tarkin. Because you get such a small snapshot of him in A New Hope, and then he dies. So getting a whole movie with seeing like him be a character again, like that was really exciting and
be
fun.
a threat.
Yeah,
Like,
you can
it's
see
not-
why
it's not-
he's so.
It's not Boba Fett getting just accidentally knocked into the Sarlacc pit. It's more like this guy he's scary.
Yeah.
He is a scary mofo.
He's very calculating.
Yeah,
Like-
and they did such a good job with it. Of just like the second he's like, I will tell the Emperor about my success, and Krennic's just like
That he had
what the
mentioned
fuck?
years ago.
Oh, so good.
It's so good, and the I'm looking at it right now,
And he does it in front of the entire group, all of the other generals or whatnot, the Empire people, just to get that public shaming.
Oh yeah, and it's Ben Mendelsohn is the one who played Orson Krennic, and he, for me, like every time I've rewatched it, I've liked him more. Like he does such a great job with this character of the guy who just can't get ahead and is clearly his own worst enemy. Like every problem he has, he caused.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like that's such a great character, and they nailed it.
And I just love the moment when he finally is confronting Jin, and he just yells out, "Who are you?" Like he's just, all of his annoyances that have been happening this whole time with people getting in his way are just directed right at her.
And
like,
it's such
why
another
do you keep
it's such
doing
another
this?
great thing of if you didn't kill her dad, she wouldn't be here right now.
And I love
like, you keep fucking
She
up.
would have just run off with her dad.
I love the punctuation that this movie gives to his death, in that it is so far away from him. The camera is zoomed out, and it's such an insignificant laser blast to the tower, and he's just gone.
And he gets to
in a blip.
look at the Death Star right where it hits him.
And it's just looking right at him. Like it's such a great shot.
His legacy is someone else will take credit for this, and he's not even going to live to see.
And you don't even matter.
Yeah.
And we, in his final moments, will be like hundreds of feet away from him. It's so great.
Yeah.
Like we pull.
Which is one of the cool things about this movie is that, like, I kept, as soon as I saw it, I walked out and I just thought, heroes don't come home. You know, like that's my big thought was like, all these are people that no one has ever heard of because they all did their jobs, and even he gets that treatment.
Yep.
Like no one's ever heard of him.
That's great.
This is this whole event, and that's kind of a cool way to play on the fact that obviously the sequels don't have any mention of them, because why would they? They're all just people who went off and did this thing that they had to do, and then. But I just like that. It's interesting that even he gets the same treatment.
And now we'll all cry at the opening of New Hope now.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's gets into one of our most famous quotes from our childhoods. Heroes may get remembered, but legends never die.
Yeah.
And it's just so great because they do become legends more than they do become heroes, because they are referenced to be like, our whatever got these plans, our spies got these plans or whatnot. Never by name, but they're always mentioned.
And there's no Rogue One, which is one of the cool things about choosing that is we never hear any call sign used as Rogue One as a tribute probably to them.
It's pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit about more of the side characters, and I want to talk a little about the actual filmmaking, because I looked up some of the ways they made this, and it's mind-blowing.
And we also should, we'll get to it later, but shouldn't forget the horror film that they put at the end of this movie. We'll put that
Well, I was actually going to skip over that, because who hasn't?
Yeah.
Darth Vader fucks shit up, and it's really
so
cool.
good.
It feels like an odd button in this movie, but it's still so cool. I'm kind of okay
It
with
was
it.
another big moment of tiny chest orgasm.
Yeah.
What a weird picture.
But
I just got.
my
I just imagine nipples shooting things out.
would you say blue milk? Just everyone everywhere. Are you glad you drank that?
I know that Ryan's favorite side character is K2. At least that's what I've gotten from you so far.
I can't pick a
tell you.
favorite.
No,
but I really like Donnie Yen's character.
Fuck yeah.
I'm gonna bitch.
Churu Imwe?
Churu Imwe, yeah. He's like the positive one in this whole movie. He's the most like positive character. He truly just believes in fate, like the power of the force will guide us the whole time. His unwavering faith into like his destiny is beautiful. And he dies in that moment of like, the force had its will. I'm okay to die now. It's the force's will. And his beautiful line of, I am one with the force and the force is with me. Emily has
I got it tattooed on my arm.
It's a great quote. It is like it's right up there with May the Force be with you. It's so beautiful. And
Donnie Yen just fucking sells it.
Donnie Yen sells it.
That's what I was so excited to see Donnie Yen in this movie that I was surprised. He is massive in China. Mm-hmm. Like he's
the IP man.
Yeah, he's exactly.
Yeah.
He's if not the biggest star in China, definitely one of the biggest stars in China, but he's really nothing to American audiences. And that was what's sort of amazing, is realizing here's this massive talent that like people didn't even know about. So now maybe we'll start seeing him in more American films. I don't know, but he was just so good in this. He's so humorous.
So good.
And,
he's just a great actor, like all the way around. And it's nice. It's one of those moments we can tell that Gareth Edwards is just a fan of cinema, because you know, like he knows him and went, I want that guy.
Yeah.
And he made the right call. He was so right for this part.
Yeah.
And in his right hand man of Wen, I can't pronounce his last name, Wen Jiang, I think it is, Giang or Jiang, who played Baze. Their friendship, I love. Like it is such a great, like they're the last two of their kind. And like he's given up on the force, and he has it. And like I'd watch an entire movie about the two of them.
I love where he's like, the force saved me, motherfucker. I saved you.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is the internet latched onto that, where they made a lot of porn out of them.
Oh God, of course,
of course.
What I love about them is they are supposed to be cut from the same cloth. They were both Guardians of the Wills. They were both this monk force user type person, and Baze just totally left the way and picked up giant guns.
He became cynical,
but they stayed friends because they complete each other in that viewpoint. It's great.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it makes sense because Donnie Yen's character, again, I keep forgetting his name.
Sure,
but he gets to stay optimistic because he has somebody with a little more pessimism watching his back.
Yang.
So I feel like if Jin and Ray were going to be friends, that's how it would work.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
Jin's like,
Jin would get so annoyed. Stop being so happy. Everything is bad.
But yeah, they really do, like they play off each other so well that it's one of the things where like I've heard the major complaint that I'll bring up now that a lot of people had. A friend of the show, Elvis Kunish, who does Tom Hanks Giving podcast, his major complaint was he never felt he got to know the characters very well. I disagree.
I disagree too.
The one thing that I will agree with is I feel like they got to know each other better than we as an audience get to know them. And after repeated watches, I kind of like, it doesn't bother me anymore because I get to know them after all these viewings. But on my first watch, there's the moment when Baze says goodbye to Jen, and I'm like, he says like, goodbye, little sister. It's like, you guys have had like 3 lines apart. I even count track this time. It's 5 lines together. And it's never like an emotional beat. It's more like, where's the glue stick? And it's like, oh, it's over. Like they don't have, at least on screen, much of a relationship together, but they have one of the more emotional goodbyes. And I don't know if that's just stuff that was left on the cutting room floor, or if it's just stuff we're supposed to be implied of like, it takes a while to get from A to B. I'm sure they had conversations we just didn't see, which is fine. But it's those are the moments where I kind of agree with people. It's like the cast is so large that you don't get to have as much screen time with all of them.
We didn't get the same downtime that we got with Han and Luke and Kenobi and stuff, just hanging out on the Millennium Falcon. We didn't really get that with these characters.
What's weird is I think we are used to a different kind of filmmaking now, where it's a little bit longer of a movie or part of a series, and we get to know these characters more. If you actually think back to the original Star Wars trilogy, it's a lot less connected than you think. Like,
you
may not,
for sure.
You probably don't think about the fact that I don't think Carrie Fisher or Harrison Ford had a single line of dialogue with Alec Guinness.
Well, that's one thing when I got really
Harrison
mad.
Ford does, but
That's one thing where I got really annoyed in Awakens when they named their son Ben. Because I'm like, Carrie Fisher never even met him.
Right.
Like he died right when she was getting to the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Unless that's
he
just
basically died to save her.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make the argument they did that for her brother, but whatever.
Right.
It's like
Because Luke's never gonna have kids, we might as well do it.
yeah. But like that was the thing is like as much as I love these characters, and I really do, like every time I've watched it, I've liked the movie more, and I really attach to these characters. I'll concede a little bit on the first watch. You don't get to know them as well as I wish you could. And that's because they are busy in a war and telling a war story. And there's that brotherhood thing that you get in war where like you might not talk to these people as much, but you're willing to die for them. So it's still kind of there.
It's the romance factor of like people, like it's like a scientifically proven thing that people will fall in love faster in stressful situations.
Yeah, and like I think that's there. It's just not as much on the screen. It's more implied, and you kind of have to pick up with it. And that's fine. I can make that leap, but I can see why if you're not super into Star Wars or you're not expecting that, it doesn't come across as well. And that's really my biggest complaint with the movie is like I feel like they're just not quite there. They are with other characters, and some of them work great, but there's just like one or two relationships that just never fully connected.
Which like what you kept talking about and how he overshoots.
Yeah.
You put this into a 3-hour movie with the rest of the stuff he might have cut out and be like, I'll be there, I'll watch it.
I mean, Monsters, his first take was famously, I think it was like 20 hours long when he first cut the thing together. And this guy, he's insane. And in the best way possible. I mean that as a compliment. Like he is the best thing he does everything I want to see in a movie, but he does it with... It's
the same way he captured Godzilla in a way that I loved.
Yeah.
And other people went, it was boring. It took forever for him to get to Godzilla.
Well,
I'm like,
as an
no.
editor, as an editor, you want the Gareth Edwards of filmmaking, like where you get too much stuff. You have an embarrassment of enrichment.
Yeah, and it's funny because like we talked about 2 weeks ago now with Denis Villeneuve of Sicario and Arrival. Yeah. He shoots everything super tight. You don't get a lot, so it's like it's such a different way of going at it. And I don't think either one's wrong. It's just what the project needs.
It's different artistry.
Yeah. And the thing I'll mention really quickly, or not really quickly. So talking in the filmmaking of what Gareth Edwards with this movie. Famously, they said that all 3 of the new episodes are going to be shot on film, which is great. I think that's awesome. But as with anything, it's how you use it that you get the product. And this movie was shot digitally. It was shot on the ARRI. It was much like that's what they shoot the Marvel movies on now. Like it's the standard like Disney digital camera. Mm-hmm. However, Gareth was not okay with that. He knew he wanted to shoot digital, but he wanted to have a special look. So he used the exact same lenses they shot Hateful Eight on. Which are the ones that Quentin Tarantino went and dug up. Like
old-timey film.
Old-timey 70mm lenses. They weren't, because of the camera, they weren't able to get the full image that they were trying to shoot. But it created a look that is in no other film out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. And then for the battles, like the space battles, they're if you don't know how they're done nowadays, usually the way it is that you talk to animators. The director and the writers will sit down, talk to animators, and give them an idea of how they want it to go. Very long, boring conversation where they're like, all right, so I want this to happen, this to swoop over here. Then the animators go, they do a rough version of it, they bring it back, like, this is what we were thinking. And then you're like, okay. And then you kind of slowly start working it out. Gareth Edwards says, no, I'm not doing that. And they came up with a hologram room. I shit you not. You can look it up online, where he could walk around with a fake camera and film what he wanted to do and then give that to the editors and the animators to go do. Like, it's amazing. Like,
so hands-on.
Really cool.
It's so hands-on. It's so impressive. And there's more, like, the more you kind of peel away the layers of this movie, the more I love it. Like,
and that really, like, the essence of why I like so many scenes in this is just the use of light, which I'm sure has a lot to do with those lenses. There's so many moments of just, like, the gaffer in this, to me, I would give such a tight hug to. The way that, like, in the part when she's watching the hologram of her father, and the camera's moving kind of in a circle around her, and you're getting to see the emotions on her face, and also the blue reflection on her face. And the reflection of the light changes as they're moving around her. And then just, like, times where they disturb air, and then you can see the particles moving around them. You can see, like, the hints of lens flare without actual, like, hard lens flare. Almost like the atmosphere in this film is its own character. They capture air movement and light movement and the glow. And even this part when they're all debating about the future of the rebellion, and there's so many of these guys that are saying the rebellion is over, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to fight. And right in there, everyone in the center is very bright. And then as you move behind them, there's, like, it's an entire gigantic room of people, but but they keep getting darker, darker, and darker until you just kind of see the glimmer of clothing. And I loved that. It's so atmospheric, it's so brooding, and it's so specific. They're all choices that it wrapped me in a blanket of happiness.
Did anybody else have anything filmmaking-wise that blew their socks off, so to speak?
And this is something a little bit random, but I wanted to touch on it before we close this out. I love the way that this movie didn't bring attention to its diverse casting.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It did
Yeah.
such
There's
a great job.
Out of the main cast, she's the only white person, and she's a woman.
Yeah, and so we have a big Muslim character on screen. We have a man with a Spanish accent on screen.
I love that he kept his accent.
Yeah,
too.
there was that famous story about that kid who took his dad to see it, and his dad was like, "Wait, you mean someone? He's
Talks
the
like
main
me."
character, and he talks like me."
Yeah.
Representation matters.
Yeah. And how many female pilots there
There
were
were-
during
yeah,
the fighting
they threw that in
sequence?
there. I
There
love
weren't
that.
a lot, but see, I thought that was very clever.
There
how
was
they did
way
the
more
female
than
thing.
any other
No.
one.
What I'm getting at is I think it was very clever because in A New Hope, there's like no women.
There's none.
You know?
Barely.
Yeah.
So
Zero.
in order to make it in order to keep it realistic, they just did a few, and none of the ground troops are women, but there's a couple of pilots.
Right.
So it's like, and there were pilots later on. I think was it pilots
In
in
Jedi,
Empire?
there's female pilots.
Jedi, yeah. So like I counted. I think as I was watching the movie, there were 8 female characters with lines. It's not a lot, but it makes sense given because I was watching and I was like, great, there's no fucking women in this military, and then the pilot showed up and I went, yay, a female pilot.
And I liked the female pilot that brings in the land reinforcements. She gets at least 2 lines,
Yeah.
which is more than the other ones got. They all got one-offs.
Yeah.
But she gets to like bring in the reinforcements, and
Yeah.
she has a very optimistic like war voice the whole time, and then you get to see her
But
die.
the Empire was still really white male.
Of
well,
course.
that's classic.
And that's fine.
That's classic Empire, though.
Yeah,
just
and
like
that's what I mean.
they were very xenophobic in
Right.
the Empire and misogynist, which also brought it to get into my expanded universe. I'm never going to say legacy, blah.
You just
My
did, though.
yeah. I just like to stab it a little.
It must have tasted horrible to say that.
Like Admiral Dalla, I really loved in the books, and she was in the books. She was Tarkin's equal because she was a woman who had to get up through the ranks of the Empire, and she ended up being Tarkin's lover, but she used that to her benefit, and she used it to. She became the leader of the Empire when they had to go into hiding after Jedi, and she has this beautiful arc in the books that we're never going to get in the movies because they don't want to use the books. But she was beautiful, and she was the only big general that they had in the Empire that was a woman, and I don't know if they're ever going to try to bring something like that into any of the movies. We'll see.
But aren't you stoked that they're slowly bringing the books back via throwaway lines
Kind
and
of, a
concepts?
little bit. They give us hints. They had Admiral Thrawn in Rebels, which I haven't watched yet.
Well, they're officially bringing him back. There's a huge new novel and basically a re-thrusting of Thrawn into the Star Wars.
I need to
canon
read those because
that's
I need to
happening.
know if they kept the essence of his character, because one of the things I loved
Yeah.
about him is that he learned how to defeat his enemies by their artwork.
But speaking of you were mentioning that general slept with him, but
Admiral
that's
Dalla. She used him in the books, but-
But that's one of the things that I actually really liked about this film is that there was no romance. I mean, and I saw somebody post that they didn't like Rogue One because what you were saying that you didn't necessarily love the relationship there between Diego Luna and Cassian and Jen. Or is that what you were?
No. I didn't like Baze and Jin.
Oh, okay. But I saw somebody say that they didn't think that they had chemistry, and it's like, well, they weren't supposed.
They weren't supposed to fall in love. They were supposed to.
Yeah, that was a
They helped each
comrades in
other.
arms thing,
Yeah.
not a I love you thing. Just because a man and woman are in proximity to each other does not mean they're gonna make out.
They help each other's character arcs. She brings him back from the darkness.
Yeah.
And he makes her get a goal in life, kind of.
Yeah.
Because she didn't have a goal in life
Yeah.
before this movie. And yeah, it's the same reason why I loved it at the end of Pacific Rim, where they're just equals.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's okay for women and men to be friends.
Yeah.
Blasphemy. Men podcast.
It doesn't have to be sexual, guys.
Yeah.
We don't need low-cut T-shirts and everything.
That's very true.
What am I supposed to do with all my low-cut T-shirts then?
Do you have some?
No, I have none.
She's very interested in
this.
this.
I've tried to get you to show off your chest hair, and you've always said no.
High necks are the best necks.
As far as anyone knows, you look just like the picture on Facebook.
Yep.
Brian's got a beautiful landscape on his chest that he doesn't show anybody but me.
Nope. It's like Starry Night, but in chest hair.
So we haven't really talked about one of the most contested parts of this movie, Forrest Whitaker.
I didn't know what to say about him because I don't.
He's not my favorite part
I
of the
liked
movie.
him better than a lot of people did in this, and I know that he has way more acting chops than he brought to this. But I thought he brought enough of a Star Wars character to this. To make it feel
I
like
agree
home.
with you entirely. I think the character he brought in was awesome.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we said when we did Arrival. I just wish he tried a little bit more. And I know that's such a dick thing to say, and I feel bad saying it, but it didn't feel like he was bringing the Forrest Whitaker A game that I'm used to him
He didn't
having.
have as much time.
That's true.
But I did like the thing that I liked about his character is that he was the character that this rebellion has destroyed. He destroyed his body and his mental state. He thinks that every single thing is out to get him.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people hated it. I loved the voice. I loved the voice of just like it's almost like that guy who's been yelling his whole life, and it's just like
his voice was destroyed.
Yeah, it's really.
Oh, good.
So good.
The thing that confused me was the monster that fucks with your brain and makes you crazy.
Oh, yeah.
They made a kind of a big deal about that, and it didn't really pay off.
And then he kind of got over it.
Yeah.
After
it didn't
20
really
minutes of
do
being out
it.
of jail.
Is that what
I got
are they
better.
implying that's what Saul did? Like that he got the thing, or
I don't think so. I think it was one of those things like they left a lot of things on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
That one would have
It
made
was
sense.
one,
to
it's
me.
one of
like
the
that-
weaker parts
Do you remember
of the movie.
that droid that got Han in Empire Strikes Back? And we never really saw what it did or the after effects of it, just that he was sweaty after he was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those like
Torture scenes.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Well, and-
Star
and-
Wars doesn't do torture very well, at least not in the movies.
And that part kind of felt like it really needed extra material. That's the one part where I felt like this movie needed like the Rebels series, because that character does factor into the Rebels series.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the first time where I felt like I'm missing something here, and you're using some shorthand, and it didn't work as well. So like there was a little bit of a disconnect there. I still liked the character. I liked how he was in the world, but that's where having so many characters really detrimented his part in it.
Yeah.
It was kind of like General Grievous for me.
Yeah.
Where I didn't really like him in the movie, but everyone told me he was great in the cartoon.
Yeah,
Right.
he was.
It was-
His
yeah.
cartoon was
He was
really
cool in the cartoon, and then the book that took place between the two episodes,
Yeah.
he was a big part of it, and he was cool in that book, too.
Yeah.
Grievous was a cool character, just horrible in episode 3.
In the movie, he's just like, I don't have any lungs.
And that's again the reason he's coughing and whatnot is explained in the cartoon.
Yeah.
It's like that you have this thing that you're not showing most of the people who are watching this movie.
And it's weirdly those things are like we needed something like that's the like it really kind of takes you out for a moment, but thankfully so much of the movie just pulls you back in.
But it's
still,
part,
like,
it's
that
part
one,
of a greater universe that you need to go and read and watch all of the other things.
There is a little bit of buy-in. It's not a lot,
Yeah.
but if you want to get the full experience.
Well, and I'm still kind of bitter from the extended universe thing. So like to ask me to buy into a new thing, like I'm recovering. I'm dealing. I've got scars.
Yeah. It's like, I just want Darth Bane. Can you just bring me Darth Bane?
Yeah.
He's technically in canon.
Maybe. Wait for it.
Yeah.
Wait to see what Snoke does.
Yeah, he's technically in canon because Mark Hamill voiced him in the Clone Wars, so...
Yep. And, oh no, never mind. I was going to say, didn't Palpatine talk about that? But that's the other one.
No, it's the other one. It's after Darth Bane.
I don't know who Darth Bane is, but I'm picturing Bane from the Batman comics
It's
as
very
a
different.
Jedi,
Luke.
and it's
I was
Or is
born
it
in the
Sith
dark
rather?
side of the
Both very
Force.
You're not
smart.
that
They're both
far
very
off.
smart.
Yeah.
I am the one with the Force. You were merely adopted by it.
Darth Bane is
Oh my God.
one of my favorite Star
Tom
Wars characters
Hardy
of all
probably
time.
would be a good Bane.
He actually...
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah.
He,
I'm just thinking of it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Brian just went to
got
a
a
place.
boner.
I think Brian just chest
your big
orgasm.
notebook?
Blue!
Well, I was going to bring the podcast to a close, but we're going to keep going for another 5 or 10
It's like
minutes
talking
now.
about how good he'd be
Can't
at that.
stand up right now.
Okay, well, I think we should move into quotes. I'm going to go first because I don't know what has mine. I need to back up from my microphone a little bit for mine. Mine comes from, there's a certain thing in movies that I really love, and that's when there's an off-screen character who only has one line, and it's like, you can kind of tell, like, they're frustrated with things. So this one comes from when Jyn is going over the whole Death Star and where the Death Star plans are and how she can do it, and she's starting to sway people, and you hear one guy in the background just go, What is she proposing?
Can you ask her to speak a little louder?
As they implied in the cinematography, that's a big room with people in the back.
Right. And you can just tell this one guy's like, my seat sucks. I have an important question. No one's asking it. And he's like, I'll just shout it.
I was promised punch and pie.
And like it doesn't take me out of the movie, but it just makes me go like, I can relate to that guy.
Yeah.
Because that would be me in that room, just way in the back going, I have something to say. Next.
My favorite quote is from K2. A little bit after that sequence where K2 goes up to Jen and goes, I'll be there for you. Because Cassian said I had to.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
so good.
All of his lines are great.
Yeah.
It's
such a funny moment.
I was reading something with Alan Tudyk. He was afraid he was going to be the Jar Jar Binks of this movie, and he totally was not.
No.
That's great.
Because he was smart.
Yeah. I'll hold off. I've got a couple.
Well, there could be a whole podcast on his vocal, like his voice work, just going from the the dumb chicken in Moana to K2.
Still never seen Moana.
It's really, really good.
It's really good. Yeah.
I love it.
But just the knowing that he can go from just a chicken whose only line is "Wah!" to well, because Cassian said I had to.
All right, if you guys aren't ready, I'll go ahead.
I've actually got one.
Okay, good.
I like the it's the line that people hate with Darth Vader, and I love it because people hate
We
it.
didn't talk about that sequence.
Yeah.
And it's a dad line. It's bad, but Darth Vader is the ultimate dad, right? Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, director. And I just like, it's my best. That's the best one. And I feel the fact that people hated it made it so much better for me.
See,
like
for me, I have the mental, it plays out just a little bit more. If that was the last time that Hayden Christensen Darth Vader was a thing. Like, he just watches like, you know what? I think I need to give up the dad jokes. I think I'm just done with it. They've played out. I'm going to quit.
Way more mysterious after this.
Yeah, I'm done dad joking people.
But I love that, like, Krennic deserves that joke.
Totally does.
And I love that. It comes together in such a scene that made me laugh, and then everyone dies. But, like, still.
Yeah.
I love it.
I really want to pick a fun one, but since I was ill prepared, I am just gonna cheat and take the one that's on my arm because I got it permanently placed there.
Yeah.
But I'm like checking it, like I have to see what it says.
Yeah. I wrote it down somewhere. Wait,
hold on.
But I mean, the Forces with me is so inspirational, and it's so just like if the reason I got it tattooed on me is it's more like I don't know, it's like feels like. Yes, I can do this thing. Like, I just have to surrender myself to, like, know it's going to be okay. And that just was so, especially for a blind guy, just believing that he can just walk out into the bullets and it'll be fine, which is really not a good idea. But
well, it's more so. Sorry.
No, I mean, but it's for life, just having faith that, like, when things are bad, they will get better, like, and you just have to just do the best you can and not, because I get a lot of anxiety and I worry about stuff, and it's like, shh, it's okay. Your arm says you'll be fine.
I love the way that this movie kind of quietly covers up a lot of plot holes that people have pointed out. Like, why are the stormtroopers, the most accurately trained troopers in the galaxy, missing these characters all the time? And this movie's like, because the Force is with them the whole time.
The Force wants it to not be that way.
Also, those helmets are bullshit.
They are. Total.
Yeah,
they do nothing.
They're like plastic.
Well, I always find it funny how we never actually see any blast holes on any stormtroopers. It's just like dirt.
Yeah, they just get blast marks and they die. Don't worry about it.
They're lasers. They're just phasing through.
That's part of Star Wars, though. Star Wars is not bloody. It never is.
Even in The Force Awakens, when that guy's like covered in blood, where's the blood?
Right.
He just has it on his
Where is
hand.
it coming from?
I would be alarmed.
Yeah.
That's really like the only moment of like real blood I think I've ever seen in Star Wars.
That's not true.
New Hope.
Yep.
When he gets his arm cut off, it's covered in blood when it's on the ground.
Which people argue about for
guess.
years later. They're like,
Yeah,
their
it's true.
lightsaber
It would have been
cauterized your
cartelized.
wound.
It would have. It's true.
As she's saying it right
It's
now.
true.
Maybe he's a different species and it doesn't work that way.
That's right.
Also, that lightsaber's old. All right,
That's an old lightsaber.
It's not as hot as it used to be.
Yeah. It's not running. Yeah, it's not running as hot.
You never see the lightsaber cut off his arm. You just hear the whooshing sound. It's actually some asshole with a blade that chops his arm off.
Maybe.
But my favorite quote, I think, sums up this movie's relationship with Star Wars and fandom, and it compares itself to The Force Awakens in the same way. And it's why I love this movie, because it gave us nods and Easter eggs without hitting us over the head with our own fandom. And the line was, "I've got a bad..." Shh, be quiet. They cut him off from saying the iconic line. And they had to just say it probably several times in The Force Awakens.
Yep. It's a tear up over here. Yeah. But anyhow, so review system for today is going to be tough. I'm being honest. But it all depends on, it's more depending on you than anything else. Movies with rebels in it. And you can define rebel however you like. Very subjective of what you consider a rebel. I'll go first with Sing Street. So Sing Street was another movie that came out last year, and I famously loved the shit out of it. I think it's one of the best movies about music or anything ever. And that movie is very much in the main character rebels against what the school tells him to do and what it wants him to do. And he's like, no, I'm going to do my own thing, and it's going to work out great. And it gets a gang of characters that you both love and you don't get enough time with, much like this movie. And it just tells a wonderful story, and it's great. And this movie also tells a wonderful story, and it's great.
I'm going to bring it full circle and say Fury Road.
Okay. That works.
Because that was the first episode I was on. But the whole, hey, fuck you and your system. Yeah. And I'm not going to be a part of it. And then I'm just going to destroy the fuck out of it.
That works.
I'm going to go with...
You're giving me a look like I'm going to hate this answer.
Star Wars, A New Hope. Because... sorry. But it's
I
true.
second the...
Whatever. I don't care.
I'll do a different sound.
Because I love it. Because my life was changed when I saw Star Wars in 97. Because I had never seen it before. And it was fantastic. And it made me happy. And I got the same emotion again while watching this movie.
Aww.
I did. And I had been missing it. And I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get it from a Disney movie. And they gave it to me. So... I love it. Like, this is going to be that's it.
Yep. I can't argue with that.
It's going to be a weird one.
That'll work.
Mystery Men.
Total
They
Now
rebel.
can I go,
Yeah. They rebel against the superhero order, like the way things are supposed to be, and defeat a great and weird evil. And they're scrappy, and there's some life and dirt in that. And I think I like that about this the most, that there's dirt, and it's weird, and it's a group that shouldn't work together. But they do.
Yeah.
Mystery Men will always annoy me because it feels like
hate it.
It's such a failed promise.
I
I'm like, this
haven't
should have been the most
rewatched it in
enjoyable
forever.
movie ever, and it's fine.
But it's got Janine Garofalo with her dad's ghost in a bowling ball.
And Eddie Izzard, who is...
You're saying more things of why it should have been great
And
and wasn't.
anytime you just base
Paul
a large
Rubens.
portion of a movie around fart jokes, I can't, guys.
But
I can't.
Mr. Was his like Captain Flatulence or something?
Oh, it's so good.
I can't do it.
Is it though?
The one
And
guy that can
Kel.
only
No,
be
it's
invisible
not.
when no one's looking at him.
But they are two movies that are very defined by how dirty they look. And I really like that about both those movies.
Yeah, that works.
And they feel so like tactile. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a weird selection. It's weird.
I'm going to go with The Matrix.
Okay.
Because it was really good. And it was very gritty and dark, and they used shadows to their advantage most of the time. The costume design was really good. And they both had bullet time slow motion camera shot. No, wait. No,
No, they didn't.
For a minute there, I was like,
I'm
what?
out.
Okay, so that brings today's episode to a close. Quick round of plugs for those of you still sticking around. Follow us online, athpod.com. You can check out all of our new articles. Twitter, ath_podcast. Everywhere else, ATH Podcast. Rate and review us on iTunes. Email us at athpodcast@gmail.com. Emily, you can follow at her podcast, Chicks Who Script. And what else do you have?
At the Emily Blake is my Twitter.
That's it. Yeah. And then I hope we saw you last weekend at CHEWIE's Art Fair, and we hope to do more of those.
Thank you for buying all my stuff.
Yeah, all of
Shit,
you.
that was last week.
Yeah.
I still have it like marked, like, don't forget to go.
Oh, thank you.
We're recording in the future. You'll be fine.
You will have been there last weekend. Don't
Yeah,
worry
you were
about
already
it.
there,
Okay,
and you
so
had a
it's
great
not-
time.
God,
You bought so much art.
was this
You
a
were my
time travel
greatest
movie?
customer.